In this video, we're working on my R32 Nissan Skyline. I'm going to check a damaged wheel to see how bent it is and if it's suitable for use, change the gearbox and diff oils, alter some vehicle alignment settings, clear up some small patches of rust, and generally make sure everything looks okay for the next few months. The wheel I purchased as part of a damaged set, but we just need to work out how bent it is because it's been curbed, and try to work out if that's suitable to use. So here we're just checking the run out of this wheel. I bought this second hand and it's had a bit of curb damage, so I'm just checking here what the run out is with the dial indicator. So having set 0 where the damage is, or at the low spot of the wheel, here's the high spot, which is actually just opposite. So we're looking at 23, and each mark on these is 0.01 millimeters. So 0.01 times 23 should be 0.23 mil, and we'll have to check whether that's okay or not. Right, next we're going to be changing the door strikers. The plastic coating that's supposed to be on them is gone on all of mine. I've done 3 of them already. You stop the doors rattling around, so that's the part we're going to use. So brand new OE. So brand new one with the plastic part still attached. Here are the ones that I changed earlier. So some of them still had a bit of the plastic coating on, others had none. That one had a bit left. That one had a bit left. It wasn't really doing anything. So yeah, again, that's the part number for those. This is my current headlight setup. The reflectors are pretty bad in the headlights, and it doesn't output a lot of light, and it's pretty sketchy driving at night. So I'm going to try and put some better bulbs in this year and see how we go. So let me pop those in quickly, and yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, got one side done, so you can see it's on the right hand side it's a little bit brighter. So I'm not expecting any miracles here, just something a bit better for driving at night. Get the other one done, and then we can move on to the next job. Right, that's both sorted, so it's time to move on to the next job. We're going to be doing diff oil and gearbox oil. I don't know what order the video is going to be in, but both of those jobs need doing, so we'll try and move on to one of those next. Right, we're under the back of the 32 now. We're going to do the diff oil first, and just have a general look and see how everything looks, make sure everything's still done up. No split boots, no bad rust or anything, so we'll have a look at that stuff as we're going around, find out if we need to touch up any paint anywhere on the under seal, which is actually slowly kind of getting cooked by the exhaust where I am. But we're going to follow the first rule of driveline fluid changes, which is undo the fill port first. If you can't undo the fill port, don't undo the drain port. So the fill port for this is up here. I think the last time I changed the fluid, actually the diff was out. It looks kind of awkward to change with the exhaust, so I tried to make I've cobbled together some adapters to try and fit around, but we'll see how successful that is. It's not looking great. Also helps if I don't knock the light over. Okay, so we are in. That is a good start. I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. You can't see. So the fill port's just up here. I can't undo that. Right. We'll try some more adapters and I'll get a bigger wrench on it. Unfortunately, these factory plugs don't seal great on their own. So I don't remember, but I suspect I've put a bit of RTV on here, which probably it's certainly helping us with the sealing, but it's not helping us with the undoing. Okay, we're getting somewhere. And this is why we check the fill port comes undone before we undo the drain port. Okay, we're getting somewhere now. Just going to move you in case we lose any fluid. We might be able to do this by hand now. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, so we've not lost a load of oil, so that's a bonus. And now we've just got to hope. So there's the fill plug there. It's just on a 1/2 inch square drive. So it's not overfilled. Now let's just hope it's not underfilled. over here. Looks like I've left the extension that I wanted to use back in the garage, so we'll have to use this one. Ugh. Okay, this is not happy about being undone. Yeah, this does not want to come out. I suspect this might be too tight. Oh. Okay, yeah, that doesn't want to come out. We'll try the mini breaker bar. Okay. Whew. This must have been what I used to do it up. But yeah, as with the fill plug, they don't seal so good, so this definitely will have RTV on it. Let's break another rule and use the same drain pan for engines and driveline fluids. So that way, every time you drain the engine oil, you can have a panic about all the metal debris in there. That's always fun. Right, now let's pour gearbox fluid down my arm, and then we'll drop the drain plug in the fluid for fun as well. Why not? 3, 2, 1. So it's not actually looking too bad. I mean, it smells horrific, but when does Diff oil not? And looking pretty good. We don't really have any massive chunks of metal on the drain plug, so. Okay, so while that drains, I've cleaned up the fill plug. Sorry, the drain plug. Probably not the right thing, but this is what we're going to use. Just a tiny little bit of this on the threads to help seal. So that's how much we're going to use, so hardly anything. So the diff that's in this is actually the factory S15 Spec R Torsen diff. So as a result, it's just gear driven. There's no friction plates in this, so we don't need to use friction modified oil, so we just can get away with using regular gear oil, which is great. We'll give this a bit of help. So actually this is pretty good looking oil, it doesn't look too bad at all. This has probably been in here about 3 years. But the mileage is super low, so ideally you want to be doing this on a flat level surface. I'm not, just because it's difficult to jack the front and back of this up at the same time, and I don't have a lift, so there might be some fluid that we're missing at the front, but I'm not overly concerned really, based on the colour of the fluid. So just try and help this, try and soak up the last bits. So this is oil resistant RTV. Incidentally, I did try and find a torque spec for this plug, but I couldn't find one. So we're gonna do it up tight. So these are tapered plugs. So theoretically, you don't need the sealant, but in my experience, it does help. So yeah, like I said, I couldn't find a Torx spec for these, but the last one was done up pretty tight, so that's how tight we're going to do this one up. Not very tight, pretty tight. Remember that you're screwing this into an alley casing, so VFT will, I think, pull the threads out of the casing, so yeah, pretty tight. So I'll get the old oil out the way and then we'll come back with our favourite syringe. So we're going to be using this, so Motul SAE 75W90. So this is a GL, there you go, GL4 oil spec. That's what's going to go in here. So get a syringe and we'll try and spooge this in. I can't remember what the oil capacity of this is supposed to be. So we're going to be using, well, either way, we're still going to be using the fillet until it comes out method. From memory, it's like 1 point something. I'll put the actual capacity in the video description. And make sure you spill as much of it on the floor as you can, because that helps. So these syringes are about 500 ml, I think. In that is dripping, but it's not overflowing. Just a dribble. Also be sure to get as much as you can on your exhaust so it burns off, as is tradition. Please also try to lie in any gearbox or transmission oil, diff oil that you've spilled. So we should have one more application and then we should be done. This is a under bottle, so let's see if we get lucky. We don't. We can get it in. There we go. Okay, there you go. Be sure to make as much mess as possible. I'll clean this mess up and we'll be back shortly. Right, so all of the oil messes out of the way, and both the plugs are now tight. Give everything a little clean on the plug. Excellent. Yeah, as before, it's an alley back plate, so don't go cranking those plugs in case you strip the threads out. Cool. Okay, right, on to the next one. Right, next we're going to change the gearbox oil. I wasn't going to do this, but I had a slight leak, so now I don't know how much is actually left in here, so while we're down here we might as well change it. So yeah, let's get started. I do this one a little bit different to the other ones. So normally I would say undo the fill plug before the drain, but we're not actually going to fill it through the fill plug, we're going to fill it through the top. So we'll just pop the drain plug out.
Right, we're going to come up top now and I'll show you how I fill the gearbox. So you will need circular pliers for this. Can be a little bit tricky as well. So now you can take the whole shifter out with the circlip we've just undone, and I'm going to fill through here. Right, so we're going to fill through the top. I think these boxes take about 2.2 litres, I think is the spec, but I'll have a look in a second, I'll stick it in the description. But I normally overfill them slightly, so I'm going to try and get 2.3, well, you definitely can get 2.3 into the top, so that's what I'm going to do. By the way, the drain plug is in, I just didn't do it on the camera. Right, so that's 2.3 done. Yeah, refit's just the reverse of the removal, so I'll get that done off camera. Right, welcome back to this mess. Put the rust solution on now overnight, and going to try and get this sanded back off today, and let's see what we end up with. So, not perfect. There's still some rust, I think, under that paint, but I'm running out of time, so that's going to have to do for now. Right, there you go. Back to bare metal. There's still a bit of rust you can see at the top, but I'm running out of time, and this needs to get done, so I'm going to put a bit of primer on it for now, and then paint it up tomorrow, and then we'll worry about it next year, but it's going to have to be okay for a little bit. Right, so a little update. I've put a bit of paint under this wheel arch just to give that a bit of protection. The colour match is actually pretty bad. Luckily you can't see it that well. Unfortunately, while I was having a little look around there, I found some more rust, which actually ended up going through the rear quarter panel. Down there, you can see I've just temporarily patched it. It's going to need it needs to have a repair piece welded in, but I haven't got time to do that now. We're going to have to do that next winter, so I've just patched it with a bit of filler for now and given it a bit of paint, but you can really see how bad the colour match is there. But it's pretty low down the car, so hopefully you can't see it that well, and yeah, I'll get it sorted properly over winter. The new wheels and tyres are on. I had some problems getting it to clear the wheel arch, despite it being the same size tyre and wheel exactly. So I have had to change the camber settings for the rear. I think we were running about minus 1.1 degrees ish before, but I've changed that to minus 2.5 degrees just to get that to clear, but it does clear and it does camber up inside the wheel arch on both sides, so we shouldn't have any problems there. On the front, I have some more clearance issues. Not so bad, actually, well, potentially not so bad as the back, but it still looks like it's not going to clear, especially on, where is it? Here, this on this screw looks a bit risky, and actually you can see probably from the old tyre fitment, it's worn through. Well, it's actually worn through the arch liner there. Oh, there you go. There's some rubber from a previous track day lodged up there. Great. So you can obviously see this is its point of contact, and here actually it's worn a hole through there. So I mean, a couple of things we could do. We could take this portion of the arch liner out and make a cut along here, which is, you know, looking quite possible. Or we could raise the ride height, because I think we're going to have some clearance issues anyway, and you can see it's kind of self-clearanced a little bit here. So we're going to raise it up by 10 mil, and actually once it's raised up by 10 mil, the posture on the front will match the posture on the back, so it should be level, but I didn't quite realise actually it was it was wearing through there, so but yeah, you can see a little bit there as well. So yeah, might be time to take this out perhaps. Yeah, we'll have to see on that one and see what we can do from there. But yeah, we're going to raise this 10 mil to match the back, so I'll bring you back when I've done that. Right, so I've got the coilover off. I've just adjusted this. So we're looking for 80 mil there between the two, because that was set at 70 before. So yep, need to get that put back in, and that should be set. We'll lock the collars off once it's in, then we'll move on to the other side, I suppose. But you know, like I said, we need to try and trim that off, so we'll see how we get on with that. So just double checking that is still 80, so we'll bot everything in and soak it up. So looking for 35 Newton meters on the top and 120 on the bottom. Cool, so that's that side done. Right, I've nibbled the top of that guard off, so hopefully shouldn't have any problems now with that eating through. I would have liked to have kept it really, but I don't want to run the risk of accidentally catching that guard and ripping the whole wheel arch liner out and getting, you know, that chewed up in the wheel. So it's had to go, we've had to cut it, and yeah, on to the next other side. So the clutch isn't feeling amazing. It's okay, it works, but it's not feeling amazing. So I'm going to give that a quick check with the bleeder, make sure that's bled out all right, and then we're going to check fluid levels. But I mean, brake and clutch are fine. Power steering's always fine, but we'll check the coolant. It is down there. Yeah, there you go. We'll check the engine oil. Unfortunately, because I've relocated my plenum, the dipstick is, I don't know if you can see it, it's that little speck of yellow in there, so that's kind of awkward to get out, but I'll check that in a sec, and yeah, I think we should be good to go. I'll let the ride height settle on the wheels, and we'll check it and measure it again tomorrow maybe, and yeah, go from there. Right, so everything's back together. I think this is probably still a little bit high, but it should settle down, but we'll see. But I think that should camber up now and clear. Fingers crossed. I've also put the factory standard kind of mud guards back on, just to save it from destroying the paint. I've also got it back on the rear as well, and actually that kind of covers the hole and the damage there, so that should be okay now until we get it repaired properly. So time to take it out, I think.
After adjusting my rear camber settings, I also noticed my rear toe settings probably were more severe than you would have wanted. So about 24 hours probably before I needed to be out and on track, I managed to realign the toe, or the rear toe on the vehicle, just using a piece of string suspended between two jack stands parallel to the vehicle and a ruler. So that was set back to the value it should be.